Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest and welcome to the final trading day of the week. It is April 11, 2025. It's about 55 minutes left of trading today. And as expected, a red day on the ASX. It's interesting because I woke up this morning, saw the Nasdaq was down about 4.5% or something like that. And I went, yep, in these volatile times to be expected. If this happened 2 weeks ago, I would have been way more intrigued, way more interested, and probably would have done a live video this morning, but who knows what's going to happen tonight's session. Nasdaq could be up 4%, down 4%. It could be up 10%, down 10%. We just don't know. And that means I'm much less likely to make any trades or make any purchases unless I see the market fall a little bit further from here. So I am I wouldn't say I'm out of the market, but I'm paying a little bit less attention to the movements of company share price, even charts of companies, because just all over the place at this point in time. Now, it is the final trading day of the week, and that does make me a little bit sad because the next 2 weeks are not full trading weeks because we have Easter just around the corner. So Good Friday next week, no trading. And I'm pretty sure they don't trade on Easter Monday. And then that week also we have Anzac Day. So that's 2 weeks from today. So in fact, in 2 weeks, that trading week will only have 3 trading days. And if I had my way, they would be trading every single day. And I betcha there's a lot of people out there who are very glad that I don't get my way because they'll be trading on Christmas Day every single day of the year. Anyway, I have no problems working every single day. I have no problems working public holidays. I do it all the time. You get nice pay on those days, but I don't have any problems working Christmas Day. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite days to work. A great day to work. And there's reasons behind that. Anyway, now before we have a look at the agenda for today's video, just a few administration things I want to get through. First of all, I had planned to release a video this morning. I had planned it all in YouTube Studio. It was set to be released at 5 a.m. And then I just went to check to see how it was performing, who was looking at it, watching it, if there was any comments, that sort of thing. And mostly I do that because of spam, a lot of spam comments these days. And then I realized, I put the wrong date. I put it April 12 at 5:30 a.m. So what I've done is I'm just going to release it tomorrow morning, but instead of 5:30, 7 a.m. It's the reaction video to FinChat's Mag 7 or which Mag 7 stock is the cheapest. And the other thing I should mention, and I don't, anyway, I should mention this. If you want to, and I emphasize if you want to, you can donate to me and my channel via Ko-fi. I'll try to remember to leave the link in the description of this video. But again, only if you want, if you really, really want. I'm not dependent on any money from this channel or anything like that. That's not the reason I've started this channel, but I thought, why not get a little bit of money if you want to? Emphasize again, if you want to. So I'll see if I can remember to leave that link. I have been remembering the last few days. Okay, so that's all the administration things I want to go through. Now, the agenda for today's video, first thing I do is have a look at the earnings report via Nasdaq. Now, we are in reporting month in the United States. That sort of has been lost among all the Trump tariff news, but we will start to see some of the bigger companies in America release their results. And there is something I've wanted to do for a while, and I started that process this morning, and I'll talk about that when we get to that session. And after we do that, I'll have a look at one tweet that I found really funny and at the same time really concerning. A tweet from Andrew Yang. It wasn't the tweet itself, it was the responses. And you'll understand why I do find it a little bit concerning. And then after that, we'll have a look at a few of your comments in regards to the insider trading that Trump had or did yesterday. And this is all through the news. So you probably have heard about this. So I'm glad it has garnered attention, and a lot of attention it has garnered. This is, if a CEO did this, they would be fined and put in jail. I'm just going to say that. If a CEO did what Trump did, they would be fined and put in jail. Maybe fined and put in jail, fined or put in jail. Yeah, whatever. And then after the comments, we'll have a look at the ASX today. Down day, as expected. And then we'll go through the top 5 stocks of the day. it was hard to find 5 companies I want to really talk about. I did find 4 companies on the ASX. In fact, the stock of the day was a no-brainer. A company that released something yesterday, fairly sad story. A no-shock share price of this company is down 30%. The other intriguing thing about this company is their CEO. Not the CEO itself, their self. The name of the CEO I found really intriguing. And also one company that is not listed on the ASX, a company that will release their results in America soon, but they did release a revenue update and a pretty fantastic update from this particular company, one of the biggest companies in the world. And then, yeah, that's it, because I'll be talking about a few comments before we get to the top 5. Usually I finish on comments, but not today. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing I just want to discuss. So we're in earnings season in America, and I love this. In fact, it's almost earnings season every single day. And I love this particular website from Nasdaq. And one of the things I've been meaning to do over the past maybe 2 or so years is just to go through this every single day and look for companies I know nothing about and just study them, do some research on these companies. And I started this process this morning, and I looked at 4 companies that I've never heard of. 3 companies released their results on the 31st of March, and 1 company released their results on the 1st of April. In fact, the company that released their results on the 1st of April, a company called Encino, never heard of it. Some sort of SaaS software company, SaaS company. Share price actually dropped 20% when they released their results. I had a quick look at that company. It does look interesting. And then I had a look at 3 other companies that released results on Monday, the 31st of March. A company called Law Holdings. I will admit, market cap is $8 billion, but I will admit the company does look really intriguing, just the valuation, a little bit extreme. They do aerospace stuff, parts, stuff like that. Listed, founded not that long ago, I think it was 2017, listed a couple of years ago, and the company has just been hitting it out of the park in terms of growth. Another company called PVH Corporation. No idea what this company did. They own Tommy Hilfiger and what was the other one? Tommy Hilfiger and PVH. Just come on. Calvin Klein. Yeah, they own Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, Warner's, Olga, and Trunco. I don't know what the other ones were, but I definitely heard of Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein. I thought, oh, this sounds interesting. Founded in 1881. Yet I've never heard of this company. And then I had a look at the chart, had a look at the performance, and I was like, nah, we can move on. The other company here was, and probably the most interesting here, was Progress Software Corporation, ticker code PRGS. A company's been around for a while. I didn't mind their update, maybe slightly overvalued, that sort of thing in terms of P ratio. But I'll also mention that I went through these companies in about 2 minutes. So very quick going through these companies. I'm just looking for companies I might want to do further research on, and definitely Law Holdings and Progress Software Corporation. Then I had a look at the chart for Progress Software Corporation. So this is it here. If you have a look at the weekly chart, it has the telltale signs of a high-quality company. It's going from the bottom left to top right, but it's slowly going up. And if you invest in this company 10 years ago, you've got a 10% return, which I suppose is okay. I do want higher than 10% per year, but you're going to be okay if you invest in this company at or when the share price is below the 200-week moving average. And lo and behold, the share price did pop up when they released their results, and the share price moved again above the 200-week moving average, so very close to that level. So very interesting to find these companies that I've never heard of about. And a lot of these companies, if they were listed on the ASX, would be very popular, in my opinion. Okay, now on to the tweet, which I found amusing, funny, and very concerning at the very same time. So it wasn't actually about the tweet itself. It was about the reply. So this is from Andrew Yang, entrepreneur, anti-poverty. Aren't we all anti-poverty? I don't know. Human-centered economy. Well, isn't the economy human-centered anyway? Yeah, anyway. Andrew Yang says, if something goes, this is simple mathematics, by the way. If something goes down 10% and then up 10%, are you back where you started? No, because the decrease is from a bigger number. 100 minus 10 equals 90, plus 9 equals 99. Absolute truth. I mean, you can't, debate this. Yes, yet, but yet. There was a lot of debate. People going, what are you talking about here? 10 plus 10%? If you go, 10% down plus 10% up, let's go back to the same level. This was so common in the reply section. It was just so amazing. What? Where did you get the 9 from? And then people complaining about libs and that sort of thing. I bet you I won't be able to find the most interesting one. Yeah, I bet you I won't be able to find it now. Yeah, but this was full of people just not understanding. Yeah, the amount of people that understand that 9 is 10% of 90 is concerning. Yeah, the replies were just full of this. It was just, and that's why it's so concerning that people don't know just simple mathematics. And someone actually did mention here that where was it? If I can again find it again. Yeah, I won't be able to find it, but yeah, I won't spell out this particular reply because there is swearing in it. This thread proves the stupidity of MAGA in real time. He told you the formula and you still don't get it. Same idiots that want to shut down the Department of Education, which is they're shutting down the Department of Education, but now what they want is the education to be in control of the states. I don't know if I believe that. I don't think that's the right thing, but that's what they want to do. But it was just so concerning just reading the replies going, you're wrong, and stuff like that. People saying, the mathematics is all wrong. So that is concerning and just shows you that the education level among a lot of people is lacking severely. Now onto a few tweets, and I did notice that Trump did release a tweet, maybe not a tweet, on his own platform about how it was a great time to buy. Now is the time to buy. Something like this, 4 hours before he released the trading or tariff pausing announcement, and people are looking at that and they're saying this is serious because this could buy insider trading. He has inside information and he was telling people to buy. And I can almost guarantee you, if a CEO did that sort of thing, if a CEO issued a tweet saying his company shares were a buy at that point in time, just before they released a very important announcement, that would be considered illegal. Anyway, so Deb Shaw, so Trump posts a cryptic message, this is a great time to buy. And I have heard some people say this was a message directed at a lot of his rich friends. I don't know how true that is, but he might have been telling that, just wait for this message and then go all into the stock market. On Truth Social, that's what it's called, which is oxymoron. Twitter Clonia, 4 hours before he officially announces the 90 days tariff suspension, S&P surged 7% soon after this message. In fact, no, it wasn't after the message. It was after he actually announced the tariff pausing. SEC should investigate who bought stocks during these 4 hours. I absolutely believe that should happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. And there's another one from, VBED66. A few days ago, there was a rumor in America that tariffs were going to be put on hold for 90 days. Yeah, there was. The market rallied after that. The market rallied briefly, as VB said, and then Trump said it was fake news and the market sank again. The fact that 2 days later, Trump did put the tariffs on hold for 90 days is proof that insiders in the Trump administration were guilty of insider trading. And I definitely think there should be investigation for the very fact this is out there. This is out there. Everyone knows about it now. But I don't think anything's going to come out of it. But I do think if Trump wasn't president, something would be done. And that's the problem. Anyway, so he's a felon anyway. So we expected this sort of thing. He has no morals, no ethics. So we shouldn't expect anything else from Trump. Anyway, so that's those tweets. And now onto the ASX Today. And what can you say? I'm just going to refresh this. The odds down by just over 1%. It was down about 2% early in the day, but we did see the American futures rally during the trading today, and we all know that our market is correlated. In fact, if you have a look at the 1 minute Nasdaq futures, yes, it did rally. It has rallied. The low point was about 11 or 10 a.m., so just after we opened, and that's when the market, the ASX, actually did reach its bottom. So we are correlated to the American futures. So the way they go, the way we go. Not absolutely 100%, but definitely that is why we're up a little bit from the start of trading, just because American futures are up. and everything does seem to be down. Small caps have had a relatively good day, so that's good. And banks have had a really good day. We can see that just by the indices. In fact, gold up 4.61%. Let's have a look at gold. Let's have a look at the daily chart. Oh, look at that. Look at that rally in gold the last 3 days. A beautiful rally in gold. And maintaining its uptrend. That was a nice little buy the dip situation for gold. Hopefully some people out there took advantage of that. I thought maybe it could dip a little bit further. Is silver rallying as well? It should be. Not as much. But it has bounced. Silver has bounced off a support level. And the other one was copper. I wonder if copper's doing anything. Not much. But definitely the place to be today is gold. Up the sector or the indices up 4.61%. All the other indices are down, including small caps. Staples flat and telecommunications flat. And the reason those are flat is because they're defensive, particularly staples. Telecommunications I would consider defensive as well, because people aren't going to change. They're not going to give in their phone if they're facing tough times. I would actually say that people are more likely to give up their TV, their computer, their children rather than their phones. I'm making a joke. I don't think that's going to happen, although it wouldn't be surprising. I did speak to someone many, many years ago who said they could not live without their phones. Literally, they said literally, I could not live without my phone. I don't think they meant literally, but it is concerning that people just attach their phone. Even I'm attached to my phone a lot of times. Anyway, it's a pretty bad day for utilities, healthcare, and energy, all down by more than 2%. And the ASX 20, where is it? Down 1.33%. Let's open this up. Is any company up? I'm going to say Coles is up, Woolworths is up, Telstra is up, maybe CBA up. For some reason, people think CBA is offensive. It's not. I keep saying that. But CBA keeps going up even on these bad days. So let's see if those 4 companies are up. Maybe one more. So we'll say 5 up. 4 or 5 up. Let's have a look. 4 up. And which 4 companies are they? Let's have a ganzer. Oh, Wesfarmers. Oh, Transurban, of course, Transurban. I always forget Transurban. Yeah, that's very defensive. Wesfarmers. I wouldn't say Wesfarmers is ultra defensive, but it's up. But definitely Woolworths, Coles, CBA down a little bit, only 0.21%. And Telstra. Where's Telstra? Where is Telstra? Telstra's not in here. Is Telstra no longer in the top 20 stocks? You know, I find that extraordinary. Let's have a look. I'm going to have a look at the list of ASX companies. This should list by market cap. Yep. And Telstra, there's Telstra. It is up. So Telstra is not in the ASX 20, even though it's the 10th biggest company. That's interesting. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Telstra has been on that list before. Anyway, so Telstra is up. So, again, it's defensive. And just, by the way, just outside, yeah, there's Coles at 21. So just outside the top 20, we have WiseTech. So it's outside now. And Northern Star, that's interesting. As Xero, Computershare, Pro Medicus, which has been in and out. And Suncorp, ResMed, SGH, which is Sun Group Holdings, Fisher Paykel, Insurance Australia, Santos, and then an ETF. Okay, so let's have a look at the top gainers. I actually did go through this fairly quickly before I started recording just to find a company to include in my top 5 stocks. And I did find one. I thought maybe Sunrise Energy and Sunstone, both up about 30% or more. No announcements today, so we can move on. And there was nothing of note here. Nothing of note. In fact, the company I did include in the top 10 or top 5 is not here. Anyway, so let's have a look at the top gainers by market. And notice when we have a look at the top gainers by market, you're going to notice a lot of gold companies. So Emerald Resources, Orabanda, No Idea Predictive Discovery, Black Cat, Southern Cross Gold, Imricor Medical Systems. They did release something today. I should have maybe included this one in the top 5. Share price up 9.23%. This didn't sound that exciting though. They commenced clinical trial. So what? That's not significant. For me, that's not significant. Obviously, it is for the market. And I suppose we can have a look at the chart for Imricor. Why not? Imbricor. And yeah, the share price has rallied a fair bit over the last 6 months or so. Has fallen, now is rallying back. Anyway, Imbricor, a company called AFT Pharmaceuticals, but fairly low turnover. And then, yeah, a lot of gold companies. So I'm assuming Santana and Tipper, definitely St. Barbara. Rocks Resources is gold. Northern Minerals probably is. Polymetals. Strickland Metals. Sayona is lithium. Yeah, so a lot of gold companies in there. Okay, let's have a look at the top losers. Oh, and then at the top of the top losers, no surprise there. The stock of the day, Monash IVF. And if you've seen this story, a fairly sad story. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but no surprise that's at the top here. Osteopol released an interesting announcement the other day, I think. How long ago was this? Seems like it was like 2 days ago, but it might be like 3 or 4. They released it on the 9th. Yeah, 2 days ago. Yeah, secures EU markets approvals for custom implants. Share price went up 93.75% on that day, 9.7% yesterday, and is down. So that's exactly what you would expect. A lot of profit taking after significant 2-day rise. The question for some people might be, is this a buy the dip situation? I'm not sure if I was there. That daily chart's weird. I don't like the chart. Anything else here of note? No. Nothing of note for me. ACDC metals. I've been, Pantera, Metallica, ACDC metals. I am sure there is even more than that. 3 companies, mining exploring companies. I'm pretty sure they're all 3 mining exploring companies, like a homage to heavy metal bands, which sort of makes sense. Heavy metal. Yeah. Maybe we need Opeth or something like that on there as well. Opeth Metals, that'd be awesome. And Megadeth Metals. Oh, what a great name that would be. Okay, I was already on top losers. Top losers by market cap. You're going to see a lot of highly volatile stocks here. Light & Wonder, highly volatile. Mesoblast, highly volatile. HMC Capital, highly volatile. Not sure Web Travel Group is highly volatile. Drone Shield, probably highly volatile. And so, yep. And then that's about it. I think we can move on to the top stocks of the day. Today's video is going fairly quickly. Coming in number 5. Oh, it's the only non-ASX company, and that company is, I always get this up, the spelling, Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC. Okay, yeah, So they released just sort of like a revenue update. They're releasing results in like a week or so. In fact, we can see when they're going to release results. Go to this week. So we have banks being released tonight. So it really kicks off tonight. All Constellation Brands, Delta Airlines the other day. Might have a look at a few of those. But yeah, we've got JP Morgan, a few banks, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, BlackRock, Bank of New York. So it looks like it's a bank night tonight. Unity is there as well. Unity, oh no, it's Bancorp, the same company I was thinking of. And if we go to next Monday, some more banks, Goldman Sachs, and then Johnson & Johnson on Tuesday, Wednesday, ASML, Kinder Morgan, that's interesting, I suppose. And then on Thursday, yeah, there we have Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company and United Health as well. Netflix, American Express, Marsh and McLennan, Blackstone. And then on Friday, we have some more banks. And I would assume it's the following week we're going to see a lot of the big companies release results. Let's go have a look. Yep, there's Tesla, 22nd of April, Intuitive Surgical, Verizon. And then on the Wednesday, a few big companies there, but I won't talk about them right here. And then Thursday, we have Microsoft, Alphabet. Yeah, there we go. That's what. Oh, and PepsiCo. And then on Friday, nothing. So a really interesting period because who knows? Maybe some of these results are going to be really good and it could help alleviate concerns in the market. However, if it's the other way and some of these results look pretty dodgy, things are not moving in the right direction, then maybe that could turn the market down. Now, this revenue update from TSMC was pretty good. Oh, by the way, where did I put it? If you go back, In fact, what you can do, TSM, pretty sure it's TSM. Gee me. I'm gonna have to find. There it is, TSM. So a lot of times what you can do is have a look at how the company is trading in after hours. If they release their announcement after market has stopped trading, and for Taiwan Semiconductors, it's down 5.5%. So even though this was a pretty good revenue update from the company, share price is down. So let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it because there's nothing else to talk about. So if you really want to have a look at it, a lot of times I'll just go to the investor page in their website, and they should have, here it is, a revenue report. That's it, very simple revenue report. So let's just zoom in. And I love this. I just love this one. So they're just talking about revenue. Nice increase, month-on-month increase, 10%. Yeah, 10% month-on-month increase. And from March 2024 to March 2025, a 46.5% increase. So significant increase in revenue. They also, I thought they gave a bit of an update and sort of expected guidance, but they haven't. Seems like right there. Anyway, so nice growth in revenue, and that is one of the first things I always look at when I am researching a company. So those 4 companies I researched, first thing was, how is revenue increasing? Or I shouldn't say that, because some of these companies' revenue isn't increasing. How is revenue changing? Is it increasing through time? So let's have a look at the chart for Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM. And as we would expect, the share price has pulled back. It's an interesting level. It's a support level. And if you have a look at the weekly chart, I would classify this company as high quality. And if you have a look at the weekly chart, is this a buying opportunity? And the share price is very close to the 200-week moving average. And if you have a look at historically, the share price very rarely goes below the 200-week moving average, very rarely. So if you go back to 2008, 2009, it was below for a while. And whenever it touches or gets close, the 200-week moving average is a great buying opportunity. It fell through for a period back in 2022, and that was, I bought just after that. I bought when it started going up again. So it could be a really good time to buy some shares in Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. By the way, when I bought some shares in this company, P ratio was like 16, which is sort of ridiculous for this type of company. And the company has experienced some pretty good growth since then. And I'm wondering what the P ratio is right now. P ratio is 22.56. So yeah, it's getting to a really good level. Lower than CBA's P ratio, which is sensational. Yeah, sensational. Okay, now on to a company called Legacy, coming in number 4. Legacy Minerals Holding. Share price up 17.65%. Pretty good for this type of on this type of day. By the way, look at the market now. It's only down 0.94. So nice intraday rally for the ASX, and that would probably mean more than likely we've seen a pretty good rally. Yep, look at that NQ1. Do you have a look at the 1-minute data? Yeah, really good rally the last 15 minutes or so. So that's why our market has rallied beyond 1%, down 1%. Anyway, so let's go back to Legacy Mineral Holdings. Their announcement today. Outstanding economics confirms Drake project potential. When I saw the share price was up, I had a look at this and I went, "Oh, it does sound interesting." Now, they did have what's it called, a PFS, feasibility study, something in feasibility study, pre-feasibility study, PFS. They've done 2 in the last 7 years, and then this one. So actually, if you have a look, go down. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. So this little table here. They've got the 2017 PFS, 2020 PFS, and this one is called the scoping study, and things have really improved over the last 7 years. So we're talking about pre-tax cash flow of 324.5 million, payback period of 14 months, gold produced 177,000 ounces, cash costs 1,310, a little bit higher than the PFSs. All-in sustaining costs a little bit higher as well. And Australian gold price assumed significantly higher than 2017, and that is probably the big change here. That's why the net present value is 303 million. Back then it was 23.9 million, so not that very high. So it's legacy minerals. It seems like a pretty good scoping study. And here's some of the highlights. Yeah, so 303 million net present value, free cash flow 325 million, total gold production, mine life 5.5 years, so not a very long mine life. And I suppose the other thing is the what do you call it? The market cap, 36.22 million. So it's not a big company. And finally, the chart. What does the chart look like? So, does the chart look good? And yes, the chart looks okay. In fact, I'll go back to put in the moving averages. Share price has gone on a bit of a run. And the other thing I like to look at is the volume. I'm going to have to do this. It's I didn't think it was auto-fitted, but it is. So share price is going on a run right now. But the main thing here is the volume. Look at the really nice volume coming in the last few weeks. So this chart does look nice. It would have been good if we didn't see that rally back in May, June of last year. If the share price remained down, suppressed, this would be even a more interesting chart. So actually a pretty good chart for legacy minerals, particularly when you look at the volume. The volume has really expanded or blown up since since last year anyway. So not a bad chart for legacy mining. Company coming in number 4. Coming in number 3 is one of 2 companies that did release their Appendix 4C today. Spacetalk. Share price up 5.88%. There you go. They nothing to do with space. So this is not about space communications for astronauts. So it's not the name. That's in the name, but they don't do that. This is the thing I remember when it comes to this company is they do manufacture or sell watches for kids that make them safe or something like. Yeah, I think it's watches. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's watches for kids that make them safe. Anyway, nice receipts. So receipts per quarter about $5 million. Yeah, $5.487 million. The company's not yet quite operating cash flow positive. So negative by 780,000 for the 9 months to date, a negative 2.5 million. So I have very little interest in this company because of that. And the other probably reason I don't have much interest in this company right now is just because of this. So this is the cash receipts history. Only got the 2 years of history, so 8 quarters of history, and we're not seeing any sort of significant trend. So you can see it going up and then down and back up again. And this quarter, even though 5.487 million was not a record quarter, that was the December quarter 2 years ago. So not the sort of receipts history I like to see. So this is not really telling me anything. There's no trend. I'm not really seeing any trend. And in fact, there's a chance that maybe next quarter you'll see receipts dropping. So no, not operating cash flow positive, not really seeing a trend with Spacetalk. And of course, probably the last one here is the chart. Now, if the chart started to look interesting, if we started to see volume coming in, the market was becoming interested in this company, I might change my opinion, but we don't see that. In fact, the chart just looks meh. If you look at the daily charts, just nothing much is happening. Now, maybe share price did rally off 14 cents, which is the low. So maybe that was a good time to buy, but yeah, I have no interest in this company. So Spacetalk, sorry, even though I have no interest, it does make it in top 5 because it's an Appendix 4C, and these should be celebrated, particularly when companies are releasing their Appendix 4C early in the month. So that's the only reason. If they released it on the 31st, I wouldn't have paid any attention to it. Coming in at number 2, we have EBOS. Is it EBOS or EBOS? EBOS. Group share price down 5%. By the way, you can see the market now down 1.1%. So if we go to the futures, I was thinking maybe the futures were down. Oh, now we got to adjust. No, futures aren't down, just the market, Australian market. So it's not perfectly correlated, but it's still correlated. Okay, EBOS Group made an acquisition. They went into trading halt. Was it last night? Yeah, last night. And then 1 hour later, made an announcement in regards to acquisition and equity raising. Now, with the share price down 5%, I'm assuming the equity raising is sort of like a 5% discount. I'm assuming that. It's sort of like for pets. So I always think of EBOS Group as a pharmaceutical distribution company for humans, but it seems like they want to expand into veterinary science supplies. Yeah, so acquired SVS Veterinary Supplies, and wasn't there another one? There was two. Approximately 7 times EBITDA, which probably a little bit more than what I would like, and raising about $200 million. I can't remember the price though. Still about the acquisition, and here is the equity raising. The price should be mentioned fairly quickly. There it is. Yeah, 5% discount. There you go. So 5% discount, and the share price of EBOS is down 5%. So makes sense. I have no thoughts about this particular equity rate or this acquisition. It could be good, it could be bad. I just don't know. I do know that research has shown that a bigger a company gets, the less likely an acquisition is going to be beneficial for the company. Now, there are some serial acquirers out there, including Constellation Software, but they're sort of skilled at making acquisitions, and they do a good job. But a lot of companies, their management of these companies aren't skilled at doing that. So I am always wary when a company makes an acquisition. So this could be successful, could not be, I don't know. And let's have a look at the chart for EBOS. A New Zealand-based company, should also mention that. That's 1 minute chart. So let's go back to daily chart. And yeah, nothing much to really see here. You see the massive drop in share price back in June of 2023. That's when they lost something, the distribution for Chemist Warehouse, if I remember correctly. And share price has really done nothing since then, just gone sideways. Before then, I might have considered this company to be high quality or nearly high quality. You can see by the chart, company listed back in 2015, and actually the chart looked pretty good until that particular announcement. Okay, now on to the stock of the day, a sort of a no-brainer, MVF or Monash IVF Group, share price down 34.19%. Not surprised. In fact, I could have imagined share price down even more. They released last night at 4:50 p.m. media report following Brisbane clinic incident. Doesn't sound good to start off with, and then straight away it's not good. Refers to a media report released, and the question here is, why did the media report come before this company released something to the market? Yeah, I do have a question about that. Anyway, it refers to a media report released by the Herald Sun today and confirms that an incident has occurred at its Brisbane clinic where the embryo of one patient was incorrectly transferred to another patient, resulting in the birth of a child. And obviously, they mentioned the next slide. Their focus is on supporting our patients through this extremely distressing time. Now, of course, if I was one of these patients, I'd be suing the heck out of Monash IVF. They're probably insured, but that's exactly what I'd be doing. But the problem Monash IVF has is they've probably lost trusts. There might be a lot of loss of trust. So a lot of couples will be going, do I really want to go to Monash IVF? Look what happened. But I'll be honest with you, this is now the time to go to Monash IVF because this has happened and this won't happen again. I can almost guarantee you. It reminds me of the safest time to travel in history was just after 9/11. And I had a friend who wanted to come visit me. She said, I'm too scared to fly. And I said to her, safest time to fly is right now. That 9/11 won't happen again because of the security. But so many people were so scared to fly, but it was the safest time to fly. And it's sort of the same thing with companies getting hacked, cybersecurity incidents. That's the time. So, for instance, was it Optus, Medibank, and customers were going away because of those incidents. And I was thinking, now's not time to leave because this ain't going to happen again. Anyway, definitely a distressing time, very sad story, a lot of uncertainty what's going to happen with Monash IVF, could be some repercussions, that sort of thing, monetary repercussions. I didn't really go through this at all. By the way, it was a result of human error, so again, that's not a good sign. But the thing I found even more interesting was the name of the CEO and managing director of Monash IVF. I think I knew this. I think I've discovered this a few years ago, but still finding it interesting. Michael Knapp. Now, interesting spelling here, K-N-A-A-P. So my spelling K-N-E-P-P is unusual in this country, not unusual in Pennsylvania, United States, a lot of Nepps there. And typically it's K-N-A-P-P, the typical spelling. So it comes from, it's German. And typically when a lot of people do try to pronounce my name, it's Knapp or Knepp, not Knapp, Knepp. And I always say, well, it's not knife or knee or knight. It's the K is silent. Then on occasion, you do get a smart ass who goes, well, in German, you do pronounce the K. So my name would probably be Knepp. Yeah, but we're not in Germany. Anyway, I found that interesting. And in fact, someone I knew actually pointed this out to me because I forgot about it. And they said, are you running this company? I went, no, I'm not running this company. Anyway, so interesting name and a good name. I'm going to say that my favorite CEO name in the world, unless there is a Michael Knapp running another company out there. Okay, that's the top 5. Oh, by the way, the chart. Let's not forget the chart for Monash. And this was a really good chart for a while. I still remember this going, maybe I should be trading this. So 2023 was a good time to be a shareholder of this company. A beautiful trending. And when the trend stopped and started to turn, I did get a few comments saying, what about this company? And I was like, no, the trend's, I wouldn't call this a high quality company. The trend is against you as well. And if you were out of this company because of that, because the trend you've been saved from this day because the share price has taken a pounding. Share price is still higher than it was back in COVID-19, by the way. Okay, that's all I have for this video. Final trading day of the week. If you have any questions, any thoughts, leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.